and a little bit more about Get Set Up. We're here to help you learn some useful skills from people in your same demographic category in terms of age, people who are older and have had to learn some of these things along the way themselves. We learn from each other. Again, if we can see everybody on camera, that's always welcome. Makes for a lot more of a social atmosphere for us. If you would like to request a recording of this class after we're done today, you can do so by emailing us at help@getsetup.io, and we'll be glad to send that to you. If you're joining us by live stream, welcome. We're happy to have you watching. I encourage you to join us in the future by registering for a class, and that way you can interact with the other learners and ask questions, things of that nature. So encourage you to do that in the future. And lastly, Get Set Up is not paid to promote any specific products. So this is not meant to be an endorsement of Google or any of its services or products, but just something informational. So what I want to walk through today is getting you set up for a Google Photos account of your choosing, because there are several options there, and selecting that storage plan and understanding Google's automatic organization system for your pictures. And in the Google Photos Part 2, I'll go into that in a lot more detail as well. We'll see how much time we have today to get into some of that, but the next part of this series really dives into that a lot. If there is anything else that you were really hoping to learn today regarding Google Photos, please feel free to drop that in the chat. And when I break for questions, I'll keep track of that as well and make sure I get that answered. Okay, so to begin to understand what Google Photos is to understand cloud storage. And when you hear the word cloud storage, we get a lot of questions about this, and it took me a while to get my head around it too. But this is a way to have your personal data transmitted and stored on a remote computer. You can think of it, and those data can include documents, contact lists, calendars, music, and yes, your photos and videos. You can think of it like a storage facility that you might rent to store some things that don't fit in your house or that you don't want cluttering it. And you have the key to that storage facility. In this case, it's a digital storage facility, and your key is your username and password with your account. So Google Photos is part of Google's suite of apps, many of those apps exist in the cloud. So if you have a Google account, say you have a Gmail account and you have a Google Drive account, as you see down here, and your calendar, maybe, all of those can be backed up into the cloud. Photos is just one of the many services. So you could have all of your contacts backed up for existence, or your calendar items backed up, so that if you are, say, running around someplace, you can go to your iPhone and look that up. It just doesn't exist on your computer. It's all synchronized, so you can access it anywhere. So when it comes to Google Photos, we're talking about a service that allows you to securely and automatically store copies of your photos online as backup. And it will also enable you to access your photos on all your devices. So if you can do it on your smartphone or tablet, on your laptop, on your mobile devices, you need to have the Google Photos mobile app in order to do that. But once you do, you can access it wherever you are at any time. One other thing that I'll touch on, this is something that we really get into in part 2 of this course, is identifying objects and events and places in each photo. The system does that itself and tags each of those photos with keywords so that you are able to do a search very quickly. Okay. And lastly, it allows you to, by using some facial recognition technology, it allows you to group together photos of each individual in your photo collection. Okay. All right. So I think I may put on the mute all for the moment just to make sure we don't have any background noise. But as I said, when you have a question, it'll be easy to unmute and ask. So let me get back to this. All right. So, and I see Helene was asking about this, so I will go into this. There is a little confusion, or it's getting a little complicated with Google's different storage plans for photos, and really for all of its apps. But the storage plans as they stand now, right now, Google will give you 15 gigabytes of space in their cloud for free. Now that applies to everything that you might be using on Google. That would include your Google Drive, your Gmail, Google Calendar. All of those count toward that limit. If you are using a lot of those apps, your photos and any videos you're backing up are probably going to be the biggest storage hogs. So text does not take nearly up as much space, data space, as what photos and video do. But that's 15 gigabytes of free space. For $20 a year, you can get 100 gigabytes of free space. And that will store roughly probably about 30,000 photos. So pretty generous there. If you get 200 gigabytes, you double that, you can get up to about 60,000 photos. And then for 2 terabytes, if you really needed that, you'd need to pay about $120 a year. And 2 terabytes can hold probably around 500,000 photos. So if you're a real shutterbug, you may want that if you want to back up everything you're using. Google does offer something else too right now, but that is changing. Right now, you can get unlimited free space if for what Google is calling high quality photos. So when they say high quality, it really means that they are downgrading the quality. It's a little bit misleading the way they word that.
It's so misleading.
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
Yeah. But your original photos are backed up, in this case, at a slightly reduced quality, so they take up less digital space. Because the richer the photo, the more detail in the photo, and some of this comes down to the megapixels that your camera or your phone takes pictures in. When those get backed up, they sometimes can take up more space than if you allow Google to just downgrade that to 16 megapixels. So that means that if you have a picture that you've taken using a camera or a phone in this case probably, that takes pictures at, say, I know some Android phones are taking them at like 100 megapixels now. I think maybe the Samsung Galaxy latest version of that does. It's going to back up only to 16 megapixels if you opt for that unlimited free space. Now, here's where it gets a little more confusing. As of June 1st, that unlimited free option goes away. I'm actually looking forward to that day because then it's going to be a lot easier to explain this to you when I teach this class. But once that goes away, all new photos that you have backed up after that will, regardless of quality, count toward your storage limit. So if you are opting for that 15 gigabytes of free space, no matter what the size of your photo, once you hit 15 gigabytes, you're going to have to start paying to store anything else. Any photos you've already got stored on Google will not count toward that limit, but going forward it will. So
Can you just elaborate on that just a bit? So you're saying, let's say from now to June, I upload original quality photos.
yeah,
They're not, that space is going to be there for free forever?
for original quality, that would still hit that 15 gigabyte limit.
Well, I have a 100 gigabyte plan. So
okay,
that's the other thing that's confusing me is that
yeah,
uh,
if you have a 100 gigabyte plan and you're backing up original quality photos, as long as you're within that 100 gigabytes, then everything you upload at that point will not count toward that limit anymore. But anything you upload after that will.
I still don't. So for argument's sake, let's say I only had photos and I used up 90 of the 100. You're saying I'll get that back, or I just won't? What does won't count toward the limit mean? Or is it just talking about that 15, the 15 limit?
Yeah. So here, let me go into settings and see if they've got a better way of explaining it. Okay. All right. They will send out an email to you if you sign up for a Google account, but the way they're wording it here is that starting June 1st, new photos and videos that you back up in high quality will count toward, in this case, I have a 100 gigabyte plan. So that will count toward my 100 gigabytes of Google account storage. So anything new that I upload at that point, even though I'm keeping it at high quality, will count toward that limit.
But so if you have original quality photos, can you change them to high quality?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Will you go over how to do that?
All you need to do, when you go into the settings, all you need to do is set that in your settings to back up at just the high quality rather than the original quality.
But that would be all going forward. Like, how do you get the ones that you already uploaded?
That would go back, and it would go back, circle back, and change all of the photos
you got
backed up to yeah.
So it's one or the other.
Yeah.
Could I ask a question now?
Yes.
I do genealogy.
Uh-huh.
And I have a lot of photos that I haven't really, dealt with yet. And I'm wondering, what I was going to do was take my camera and take pictures of the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what would be the best thing to do? Should I do that before June 1st? Should I do that now? If I want to put them, because I could put this on another, what do you call it? Well, another hard drive. I could scan the pictures and put it on another hard drive. But I just thought this would be easier because I really don't know how to scan right now.
Right. Okay. So yeah, if you took pictures of the photos that you have, you can go ahead and then have those backed up here. Depending on what you're using to take those pictures. If Joyce, what were you planning on using to take the pictures of the pictures?
What was I going to? Well, I just wanted them to have a home outside of the hard copy. I just wanted them to be safe somewhere else.
Right. So are you going to try to take the pictures of those hard copies with, say, an iPhone or?
No, I have an Android phone.
An Android phone. Okay.
Yeah.
So depending on what your Android phone takes the pictures at in terms of megapixels or size.
Well, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Metapixels, I don't know. I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
I guess what I would suggest at this point is to go ahead and back those up as many as you can until you hit, say, a 15 gigabyte limit. And then if you want to upgrade, paying $20 a year for that 100 gigabyte limit, then get those all in now, because going forward, anything that you upload will, no matter what the quality of it, will count toward that limit. If you're trying to do this, if you're taking those at original quality, you're going to have those limits anyway. But if you wanted to use that high quality option to reduce the size of them, then
how would I determine what's high quality? I don't even.
Well, yeah,
we're talking about decades. We're talking about decades ago,
Right.
Or even, I have some pictures that's in the latter part of the 20th century.
Okay. Okay.
So, some maybe in the 19th century, so I'm just wondering, what do they consider, quote, high quality?
Well, the quality would depend on the device you're using to take the picture of the picture.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Device. Okay. Not the picture, but the device.
Not the picture itself, but the device that you use to take that picture. So,
okay. Okay. All right. Understand that. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
Let's say, for argument's sake, I had the 2 terabyte plan, so I can upload 1 million pictures and everything.
Yeah.
If I take a picture with my iPhone and put it in Google Photos, will I have that same megapixels if I have all the space, or is the quality going to be reduced?
If you're using the 2 terabytes and you're using and you're just setting, and I'll walk through how to do the settings for that, and you're backing them up at original quality, then and if you're getting 2 terabytes, that will be plenty of room. Then you will not have well, let me backtrack and explain this. So iPhones, if you're taking pictures with iPhones and backing them up, iPhones, even the newest models of the iPhone, still take pictures at only 12 megapixels. So if that's where all your photos are, if those are the photos that you're having backed up, you're probably not going to really need to worry about exceeding that. You won't even, I don't think you would even have to opt for.
Well, I mean, what if I had a Galaxy, okay, and it was 100 megapixels? Well, if I have enough space in my plan, will they be stored at the quality that I took the photo?
Yeah.
That's all I wanted
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This might be a little clearer. Let me open up my phone and I'll walk you through the settings.
May I just ask one quick question?
Sure.
Thank you. I would like to know, I have a Google phone. I have the Google app. All my pictures are automatically backed up, I believe, into Google Cloud. So if I delete pictures from my phone, is it going to delete them from the Google Cloud?
No.
Okay.
No.
Good. Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay. All right. So if you open up the Google Photos app, and it will look like this. And so when I open it up, I'm going to want to go up here to my settings. That will be up in the corner. It's my initial here. And I'm going to open it up, and here it right away tells me my account storage that is going to change. And I have mine set right now to the high quality. So it's a slightly reduced quality being backed up. But in order to just set up the account itself to get this automatic backing up. So photo settings, I go into photo settings and I go to backup and sync. So here it shows the upload size. I'm allowing it to be at a slightly reduced quality. Now, I'm not real worried about that because I use an iPhone. It's only 12 megapixels, and the high quality would be set at a maximum of 16 megapixels. So that means that most of what I'm backing up anyway is below that high quality mark to begin with. However, if I did have another type of phone that was taking pictures at say 20 megapixels or something like that, it would be reduced to that 16 with this high quality account. So I do that. And now I want to make sure that I've got this turned on to automatically back up and sync. So once you turn that on your phone or on your iPad, whatever you're using, everything that you take on that device will back up to your Google Photos account. And one other thing that you might want to try, and I'll briefly show you that, but then I'll talk a lot more about that in part 2, is grouping similar faces. I have that turned on, and I even have it set to do that with pets. What's going to happen then is every individual face that your account is going to see cropping up consistently in your photos, it's going to group them together so that you will be able to look at each individual face in a little menu. And if you want, you can tag that face with the person's name, and it's going to make searching for pictures of them much easier. Same with a pet. If it sees the same dog or cat showing up repeatedly in your photos, it will group that together as well. Okay. And that is how, just the basics of getting your settings all together. Does that make sense? Any questions on setting that up?
Well, all right, group similar faces. What are you trying to achieve by doing that? Why would I want to group similar faces?
So what would happen then if I have, say, a picture of a friend, a specific friend, and I'll lay out a scenario for you. Say that I took a vacation with this friend like 5 years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but I remember the location. I would want to go into my Google Photos account, and I could type in their name and a location, and I could find that photo real quickly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was a good analogy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And I see there's a question from Helene. If I attach photos from my Google Cloud to an email, is that double storage counted? Google Photos, I think I'm answering this, touching on this with the answer. Google will deduplicate photos. So if you have a duplicate of a photo, it will not store it twice. So that way, if you are, say, sending out a photo or getting a photo, sending out a photo, and you've attached a photo as an attachment, that should not count toward your.
Really? Because I notice when you when you click the little paper clip to it, there's like two different ways. Like you can say it's a drive thing or it's I don't know, it's an attachment, and I'm still concerned if I'm doing it, if I attach the photo as an attachment and not a link to my Google Photos, that it's now seeing that as a separate, when it charges it towards my Gmail storage, you know?
Okay, so if you are taking it from a Google Drive, or you know, I have to say I'm not positive what would happen there.
Okay.
I know that Google Drive is a separate cloud service from Google Photos, even though they all collectively count toward your storage limits.
Because you can't say when you're in Gmail, you can't say Photos. Like you can't say get me the thing from Photos and not from my Drive. You know what I mean? Like how do you?
Well, right. If you're just going to put it in as an attachment, if you
Mm-hmm.
provide a link to that photo from your Google Photos account, then it would not.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the easiest way to do it.
Oh, and that's what the gentleman asked at the beginning of the class. So you're going to go over how to do that.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is so confusing. And plus, I used to have, I was always on Samsung phones, but I just got a Pixel 4a. Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's an exception to this rule about the storage for that particular phone.
Really?
So I'm totally confused.
I did not know that with the Pixel, it's a little different. That wouldn't surprise me, because that would be Google's way of trying to lock you into
their phone.
Yeah.
I'm so confused at this point. I'm just.
No, it's very confusing. And when I said I'm going to look forward to June 1st,
Yeah.
when I don't have to explain all this anymore, because it's really hard to explain. And I don't know that Google has done the best job of explaining it themselves, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's,
And then-
I know it's very confusing.
And then this is probably outside the scope of this class, but I just have the basic question about taking a photo. Now, I notice when I'm in the sun, when I'm out and my phone is in the sun, the screen is totally dark. I cannot see anything. I turn the camera on and it's just, I mean, is there something automatically adjusting for the light or something? I don't know. I can't take any photos because it's all dark.
That is probably just it's hard to see these LED screens in bright sunlight. So it's probably technically not dark. It's just very hard to see it because the sun is so bright. So
and there's nothing you can do about that?
Not that I know of. That's just sort of a I'm not sure that there's any way to control for that. It is just your screen's reaction to the sun, and also the way your eyes are able to distinguish.
I mean, I just take random shots, and they come out okay, but it's not what I was looking at because I couldn't see what I was.
Yeah. That's why I can't even work on my computer outside, because sometimes I think, well, it'd be nice to take my laptop and go outside on the patio, and depending on what time of day it is, if it's in the middle of the afternoon, I can't see my screen.
Okay, then it's not only me. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So once you get your account set up, all right. You can also just view your photos by calling it once you open up a Google screen. And let me do that. So I have a couple of Google accounts. I have a joint one with my wife and then another one for myself. But here is where you can go on a desktop to look at your photos that you've saved or had automatically upload. When you go to open up the Google homepage, you'll see this little grid right here. And if I click on that, I go down to photos, and here is my account, and everything that's been backed up is here. So even something like, my wife and I were shopping for a new grill for our patio, and I took photos of some of the prices and everything that got backed up even.
Yeah, I guess my photos were being backed up, some of them that I didn't know they were being backed up.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were even going,
Yeah. As soon as you turn on that backup and sync choice on the Google photo settings, everything starts getting backed up.
Backed up. Okay.
Yeah, automatically. So the other thing that's nice about this is if you want to clear up space on your device, say you've got all of these photos on your device as well, you can delete them off the phone and they will stay here in your cloud account. So this is a really good way. The other benefit is, heaven forbid, you lose your phone or it gets stolen or it breaks beyond repair. You may lose some other, well, depending on what you're storing in the cloud, you may preserve all of it. But if you're really worried about your photos, they're all backed up here. So even if they're also on your phone, you won't have to worry about losing them because they've all been backed up here as well. So you can, okay, how do you delete from everywhere? Okay, so to delete a photo for all across the board, you would want to, first of all, delete it from your phone. And then you'd have to go in here and take an individual photo. Let's say that I like that one too much. Okay, let's say I take this one and I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. I just go up here to trash. You'll see the little trash can here.
Mm-hmm.
And move it to trash. And I can go down and look at my trash can. And everything I've trashed is in here. It will stay there for 60 days. So if I trash something and then decide later that I would really like to keep that photo after all, I can just go in here and open it up. If it's still in there, if it's less than 60 days, fewer than 60 days, I can go in here, hit restore, excuse me, and it goes back into my photo stream up here. So I've rescued that photo. Anything else that's in that trash can, if I'm ready to just completely let it go, and keep in mind that anything that's in this trash can is also counting toward your space limit. So once it's gone, it's no longer doing that. So I could take all these photos and I'm just going to click on the shift key on my keyboard and I'm ready to get rid of all of these. I'm going to go all the way down here and I'm going to hit delete permanently. And they are all gone now. I freed up some space on my account.
So if you made a mistake, what would you do? A mistake on one, at least one of them.
If I trashed one photo, if it's within 60 days, I can retrieve it unless I just deleted it from my trash can, and then it's gone. So, you know, if you do end up this is the equivalent of the garbage man coming and taking your garbage away. At that point, you can't get it back. But when you first trash a photo, you can think of it as something that's sitting in your garbage can waiting for trash collection day.
It's almost like it's like storage too.
Yeah. So, here what you've got essentially is 60 days before the trash collection comes to take it away permanently. So, yeah. And Helene, I saw you had a hand raised.
Yeah, I'm still so confused about this. So when I'm looking at my phone, Google Photos on my phone, it's showing me, I just got this phone, so I've only been taking pictures on it for a couple of weeks, but it's showing me things from a year ago, 2 years ago, which must be from my other phones that it backed up. So if I delete those, am I deleting it from? Does that mean I don't have to go to the desktop version?
Okay. Let me call up my phone again and see, because this particular feature doesn't necessarily display on the desktop, but I'm going to open up my Google account again. See if we're talking about the same thing here. Okay. So if I open up my account, it shows me a bunch of things up here, right?
Yeah.
From 4 years ago, from 5 years ago. This kind of happened randomly. This is just a feature of Google Photos. I didn't ask it to do this. It just sort of gives me this little display. If I click on that, that is these are a bunch of pictures from 4 years ago. Looks like there are only a couple here. Yeah, maybe not. Okay.
And they're not on your phone, right? Or are they?
They are on here. If you wanted to they're really not taking up any more space. This is just a display for you, just a feature. So that'll show up at the top of your account, but it's not a duplicate of your photo or anything like that. It's just kind of sort of saying, welcome to your Google Photos account. We just thought you might like to look at some of these things that are sitting on your account. So say for this one, it's a spotlight on my niece and it's showing any picture that she appears in. So that's just a frill, if you will, on the account. Does that make sense, Helene?
I think so. So I would still, for those, if I saw one, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't need that anymore. I would have to go to the desktop version and delete it from there.
Well, if you didn't want the photo anymore, you'd want to go in here and say, yeah, you would have to go in and delete that photo itself from your account. So if you see something show up here at the top and it alerts you, oh, I didn't know that photo was still in here, I want to get rid of that, you'd have to go into your account and delete it. Yeah.
Okay, I think I get it. But the other ones, like from the more recent ones, like say today and yesterday, those, if you wanted to just store them in the cloud, you would delete them from the phone.
Yeah.
And then still be in the cloud. But then if you wanted to delete them permanently, then you have to go to the desktop photos to delete.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I think I get it. It's still confusing me, and what counts towards what storage space I still don't.
Well, the other thing so anything that gets backed up and stays there counts toward the storage space, whatever you've set up on your account. One thing to keep in mind though, if you want to delete, if you delete something from the account itself, say on your desktop, or even on your phone from the Google Photos account itself, you're going to want to go back in and delete it from your phone too, because what's happening here is every time I open the app, you see this little motion here, Google Photos is going through and backing up everything again.
So it's going to put it right back. Is what?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
it's always
what-
the
that
first
automatic-
step. The first step is always deleted from the phone if you don't
Yeah.
want it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think I got
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So once you get into your account, the part 2 is where I'll really get into albums and sharing and things like that. But I just did want to show you real quickly that things get organized here for you pretty easily. So all of these categories here, Google did this all itself. I did not label any of these. I did not group them together myself. This was all done automatically. So
automatically.
Here is a grouping of all my flower pictures. Any picture in which a flower appeared in any way, shape, or form, even if it's not the main subject of the photo, it's going to show up in here.
Well, how about if you don't agree with their assessment of maybe you want to say it's another name? Okay.
So if you go into here, I don't know if you can change it or not in the categorization. Yeah. So sometimes it may not be what you're wanting. In this case, I think this is ducks, but it's categorized as ducks, but these are not ducks. They are
penguins,
puffins. They're puffins that were at the zoo. And swans are in here too in different places. I don't know that I have a whole lot of control over removing those. There might be, and in part 2, I can do that research so I can tell you for sure whether you can, but this categorization does make it a lot easier to find things that you're looking for. And you'll see here too, it even does it by place. So here are places. And it's recognizing places and it is categorizing them that way. So here you can see I have the Netherlands, right? It even gets more specific. The further down you go, the narrower it gets, and it's got things listed in trying to find. All right, Rotterdam and Delft and Gouda. Those are all Dutch cities. They're all in the Netherlands. And I think somewhere I saw Amsterdam too. So all of those cities have their own little folder or subfolder within the Netherlands.
I mean, did you saying that they did that?
Yes.
They knew what Amsterdam was?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And I'll explain what is happening there. Let me find my slide here. All right. So what is happening when your photos are getting backed up is that Google is reading the metadata on your photo. So any digital photo, when you take it, it captures the date and time that that photo was taken. In other words, when you snap that photo with your phone, it immediately records the date and the time that you snapped that. It will also record the device you use to take it. So if you're using an iPhone 8, it will record it as being taken with an iPhone 8. And if you have your location services turned on your phone, which you can use for like GPS, things like that, It will also record the location. So that is what it's using to be able to sort things by location.
But if you have, like I said, I had photos in the early 20th century or 18, I mean, how would they label that?
That I'll tell you what, that they would not be able to do. That's the one
Okay.
drawback of older photos that are analog photos that then you take a picture of or scan.
Yeah.
What happens with that is there isn't any metadata on those original photos.
Right.
The only thing that gets recorded would be the date that you took the picture of the picture.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the one little drawback with digitizing old print photos or analog photos, is that that metadata doesn't get captured. But.
Oh, okay. All right.
But when I went to the there was a Android class. Oh no, it was class about Google Apps. I don't remember which class it was, but anyway, they talked about this thing called Lens, Google Lens, and it's like an artificial intelligence thing that, you know, no matter what, it doesn't go by the metadata. It just looks for other things that are to identify what's in the photo.
That is the other thing that is going on. Yes. It also has some built-in object and facial recognition technology. So
if you did not have location turned on when you took the picture on your device, if you did not have that, you know, if you were like hiding your location,
right,
would it still try to get a location for the metadata or no?
No, probably not. The only way it might is if it recognizes a landmark of some sort. Say it might be able to, and I don't know this for sure, but it might be able to recognize the Eiffel Tower as the Eiffel Tower. But if you take a picture of a flower in Paris, say like in Luxembourg Gardens or something like that, it's not going to necessarily record that location if you have your location services turned off. It might, but there's no guarantee that it will if it can't recognize something there.
But it's the same process as it would be doing for the other tags, like because it doesn't say flower in the metadata, you know, if you or duck. Right.
No, so, that would be the object recognition technology.
So it may categorize something if it can detect it that way, as opposed to the metadata.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm. So, and that's something that would be important for Joyce to know, that when she takes that picture of the picture, even though it's not it doesn't have any metadata really to use, it still has the object recognition technology, so it would still recognize objects in that photo or animals or plants or something like that, and still use those to categorize. So even if you don't have the metadata, there are other things there that it is reading automatically.
And I would think that, I mean, when you do the research for the next week's class, that you would find something that it would want people to tell it if it got something wrong, because that would make it smarter, you know, like going forward.
Right.
So there's probably some way you can change those tags.
Yeah, I know that you can do that with, say, the location. So, you know, take a photo like this. All right, let me just call this one up. You see, I have this info here, right? And let's say that this was a print photo that I scanned. It's going to show the date that I scanned it and uploaded it, right? Rather than the date that this was actually taken. But if I want, I can go in here and I can change that. These little pencils here at the side allow you to change that. So Joyce, for example, if you know the dates of those photos or even the approximate dates of those photos from back at the turn of the century, you can go in here and date them this way.
Oh,
a little bit of work, but and then down here too, if I think that it's made a mistake about where this was, I can change it. So those are just a few of the alterations. Whether in terms of the category, I'm not seeing a whole lot of capabilities there, but I'll look into that and see if that is a possibility. Looks like we are running up to the end of the hour. I am really glad I split this into 2 classes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot to go over here. So
I wouldn't mind taking this class again.
Yeah,
before I move on.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask a question about my phone settings? So
Sure.
I mean, on my settings, on my iPhone and Google Maps, do I have to have turn on the camera and then have location just while using, or have it like all the time so it can categorize where my picture was taken?
If you just want to have it for while using, that's fine. Yeah, it would only be operating then when you open up the app to take a picture. So what you want to do is, if you're wondering about the location being recorded with your camera, your iPhone camera, that's what you want to have turned on. It would apply to the camera within your phone, which I think is automatically set that way on an iPhone. We do have an iPhone basics class that can walk you through all those settings and everything. But if you have location services turned on for your iPhone camera, then that metadata is going to get captured. That location will get captured. And Google will read that when it's backing up your photo.
So is that true for Android too? You can separate whether your location is just for the camera, turned on just for camera versus.
Yeah, I would imagine. I'm not an Android phone user, but I would assume that you can do that with it as well. In fact, a lot of times, well, yeah, I've got to think that most phones allow you to control what location services are turned on with each app. Most apps, or good many apps, will come with the option of, they'll come with the option of having location services turned on. So say you have a restaurant app and you want it to be able to tell you where there's a nearby restaurant that you might be interested in. You want to have the location services turn on so it can tell where you are and direct you to, say, the nearest Chinese restaurant if you're wanting to get Chinese food or something like that. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. So I will be sending you these follow-ups, these takeaways here in the follow-up email that you're going to get. And so look for that. And I'll also have a few links for you to follow too for more reference. Just want to let you know about some other upcoming classes. We have one coming up on how to digitize analog home videos, not just analog home photos, and also organizing yourself using Google Calendar, Notes, and Tasks. So just some other Google apps. My next classes, I have a photo composition tips class coming up today at 4 Eastern. If you're interested in learning about composing photos, different techniques you can use. And then tomorrow there is a class on the basics of the iPhone. Just the basic settings that you might want to have on to get the most out of your iPhone. And look for that Google Photos Part 2 class, which is coming up next week. And then we'll walk through a little bit more on the sorting and some of the automatic sorting. We'll also talk about setting up your own albums and about sharing photos directly from the app.
Will the email have the link for that class, or is that actually what it's called, for Part 2?
It's called Google Photos Part 2. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't get any notification that that existed.
It's a brand new class, so it just probably the word hasn't gotten out yet. I would imagine it's on our schedule now. So
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yes, you'll be getting the email with all this other some other class suggestions. And also you can click here to view the entire schedule and get feedback here. Or give feedback here, and you'll get this feedback form where you can add comments about what you liked about this class, what you didn't, what might make it better, and also a space for you to offer some ideas for classes you'd like to see us offer. We are constantly looking for class ideas, so we love your suggestions. Again, love it if you could spread the word about Get Set Up.
Yeah.
And also, if you would like to request a recording of this session, just please feel free to email us at help@getsetup.io.
Yep. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right.
All right.
Good day.
Everybody have
Thank you,
a
Todd.
great day.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.